So we have two founders today, Prashant and Aditya. So let me introduce first of them. So Prashant is actually IT Madras and IIM Ahmedabad graduate, and now after that he started his journey from his job, and now finally he is an entrepreneur. Aditya is IT Bombay graduate, and after doing job for 4-5 years, he started his journey, and now they both are the founders of Wealthy. तो उनसे ही सुनते हैं उनकी जर्नी कैसी रही. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल प्रशांत, सबसे पहले आप ये बताइए, आईटी मद्रास में आप गए तो कैसा था वो आईटी का एटमॉस्फेयर, कैसा था वहाँ में, आपको क्या सीखने को मिला? जनरली बोलते हैं कि आईटी में एक्चुअली आप नेटवर्किंग करते हो बहुत अच्छी. आप अपना एक्सपीरियंस आईटी का बताइए.
नेटवर्किंग तो पता नहीं, बट आईआईटी में व्हाट आईआईटी आई थिंक मेड मी फियरलेस. सो वी वर ऑलवेज लाइक ये चीज़ होगी नहीं होगी, ये एग्ज़ाम अच्छे से करना है, वो एग्ज़ाम अच्छे से करना है. बट वंस यू गो टू आईआईटी यू सी सो मच competition that people are better than you in most of the subjects. They are better at with you in a lot of sports or something. But what you essentially decide, or what I did at least, I decided two things, or one thing that I liked and what I thought I can be better at, right? So that just made you fearless. That competition doesn't matter. What you want to do, what you like to do, and you try to just focus on that.
Nice. And after that you prepared for CAT and
No, after that I worked for a couple of years, and then I prepared for CAT, and then I gave CAT. Yeah.
And then went to IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah, I went to IIM
How
Ahmedabad.
was the journey there?
I think IIM Ahmedabad gave, I think, 2-3 things which I definitely picked up from there. One was accounting and finance. So I think that does help in the entrepreneur's journey, because just cash flows. I mean, there's right. So it I mean, not with respect to what we do as a business, right? But in general, running a firm, running it properly, etc., that does help, having that accounting or finance rigor. I think वो IIM अहमदाबाद ने काफ़ी सिखाया. सेकेंड थिंग जो IIM अहमदाबाद से काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें सीखी, बट ये दो चीज़. दूसरी चीज़ थी कि देयर वाज दिस प्रोफेसर ऑफ आवर्स, ही सेड कि तुमको कितना भी सिखा दें, तुम लोग यहाँ से निकलने के बाद सब भूल जाओगे, राइट? एक चीज़ याद रखना, it's all about HR. It's all about human resource management, right? So getting the right people, working with them, incentivizing them right, that's something, those two things basically definitely stayed with me beyond IIM Ahmedabad.
मैंने काफ़ी सुना है अहमदाबाद के बारे में सर कि वहाँ का बहुत टाइट शेड्यूल रहता है कि आप रात में बोलते हो, सुबह अगर कोई और प्रोफेसर एग्जाम ले रहा है तो दूसरा प्रोफेसर कहता है ठीक है मेरा पहले कर दो, इंस्टेड ऑफ टालने के. तो मैंने सुना है कि काफ़ी ज़्यादा टाइट शेड्यूल रहता है वहाँ पे.
फर्स्ट ईयर काफ़ी टाइट रहता है, बट यू गेट यूज्ड टू इट, and yeah, you get used to it. But हाँ, first year काफ़ी टाइट रहता है.
Then you went for Morgan Stanley.
Then I worked with Morgan Stanley for 7 years. Yeah.
Okay. So उसके बाद सर अचानक से कैसा आया दिमाग में कि ये सब छोड़ते हैं, अब जॉब हो गई बहुत, अब स्टार्टअप करते हैं? उतना बड़ा रिस्क क्योंकि आपने, या तो आप तुरंत कर लेते हो, लेकिन आप करियर में बहुत अच्छा ग्रो कर गए हो, आपकी सैलरी बहुत अच्छी हो गई है, डिपेंडेंट्स हैं आपकी फैमिली में. देन हाउ यू थॉट ऑफ इट कि काफ़ी बड़ा रिस्क होगा, आई एम श्योर उस टाइम पे.
So 2009 में when I graduated, I didn't wanted to basically I didn't wanted to basically work in a job, right? I wanted to start on my own. Then something happened in the family, etc. So I had to basically take up the Morgan offer. I went for 2 years, deciding कि after 2 years I'll come back. But it just took 7 years for that to materialize. But it was very clear, and two things were very clear. One, that I had, if I have to work, in a job, I'll work in finance, or if I have to do my own business, then I have to do my own business, right? It just, by grace of God or whatever, both of them turned out to be in the same domain. So that's why I love what I do, because I actually wanted to do as a job if I wanted to continue in a job, right? And it turned out to be in the entrepreneurial journey, I'm working in the finance field.
What I feel is very important to love what you do. When I was civil engineer, मेरे को घड़ी देखता रहता था कि कब खत्म हो. यहाँ पे रात को मैं 2 बजे तक बैठ के काम करता हूँ तो वो फटीग आता ही नहीं है कि यार क्यों मैं सुबह से लगा हुआ हूँ शाम तक, और वो मैं 3-4-5 साल लगातार कर सकता हूँ, कोई फटीग नहीं आता है. स्टॉक मार्केट के बारे में आप मेरे से बैठा के 15 घंटे बात करवा लो, मैं कर लूंगा. सिविल इंजीनियर में आप 2 चीज पूछूंगा, यार जाओ यार. So yeah, so now Aditya, so you are from IT Bombay, one of the hotshot ITs. एंड तो वहाँ पे आपका कैसा रहा एक्सपीरियंस? मैंने मूड इंडिगो के बारे में बहुत सुना है, मेरे कुछ फ्रेंड्स, मेरे 2-3 बार प्लान बने बट समहाउ नहीं जा पाया. So tell me about their life, IIT Bombay life.
I think फर्स्ट ईयर तो काफी ऐसे कहते हैं कि 2 साल की हार्ड प्रिपरेशन के बाद फर्स्ट ईयर तो डीकम्प्रेशन हुआ कि बेसिकली रियलाइज हुआ कि यार ऐसा लगा कि यार जो भी मेहनत करनी थी काइंड ऑफ हो गई राइट बट देन ऑब्वियसली एट द एंड ऑफ फर्स्ट ईयर जैसे प्रशांत ने कहा यू रियलाइज कि ओ मैन ये तो यहाँ पे तो हमें लगता था कि हम कुछ है बट देन यू रियलाइज कि हम तो कुछ भी नहीं है देयर आर सो मेनी मोर पीपल हु आर बेटर देन यू एट एवरी सिंगल थिंग अगर आपको लगता है आप इसमें बेटर हो तो दिल बी समवन हु विल बी बेटर 10x better than you not like 1x or 2x better 10x better so it's a very humbling experience मतलब आप एकदम से you sort of recalibrate you realize that world is much bigger and all of that but I think second बड़ी चीज जो मेरे साथ जो IIT में हुई ये हुई कि यार teamwork is dream work I think that's something that I so we did I was very involved in hostel work a lot of fest जैसे मोरिन्यू की तरह ही हमारा एक बड़ा tech fest होता था तो 4 साल मैंने literally हर साल I helped that event do well तो आई थिंक वो जो फियरलेस की बात है ना मुझे वो खुद से फियर शायद अकेले हूँ तो मैं फियर ऑफ फेलियर रहता है बट व्हेन आई सी देयर आर पीपल अराउंड मी अ टीम इज देयर देन सडनली आई फील कि कुछ भी पॉसिबल है सो आई थिंक अच्छी टीम हो तो कुछ भी पॉसिबल है आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग दैट आई लर्नड from my IIT Bombay experience I think I would say a lot of other things but I think those that one is that there are people who are 10x better than you right so that constantly pushes you to get better and secondly कि यार अच्छी टीम है तो कुछ भी पॉसिबल है
I think in that experience, I agree. It also teaches you humility. So I don't know why there is a perception that people from IIT or IIM are not humble, but I think they all have gone through that humbling experience in the first year at both the courses.
Because maybe आप अपने क्लास में टॉपर होते होगे बट वहाँ सारे टॉपर हैं
exactly.
की क्लास बन गई
Exactly.
है
Exactly.
करना है या
Exactly.
करना है तो मेरे को लगता है वहाँ का आखिरी बच्चा भी कहीं ना कहीं किसी जगह का
The topper will also be will become humble because he'll not be good at something else. So he'll not be good at sports, right? So for example, I'm not saying everybody will be, but
this is life. Basically life.
Yeah.
आप जब आते हो पॉटपुरी में लाइफ की तो you realize कि यार मतलब it's better to sort of know what your strengths are and then learn from others.
तो फिर ये वेल्दी का जो आइडिया था ये आपका था आप दोनों कैसे एक साथ इस आइडिया पे आए कि हाँ यार ये काम करेगा तो मतलब आपने कैसे सोचा कि हाँ आप दोनों की पार्टनरशिप हो सकती है और भी ऑप्शंस होते हैं ना सो हाउ यू डिसाइडेड दैट वी कैन गो टुगेदर एंड मेक दिस
So I think before wealthy मैं कुछ real estate में कर रहा था it was also kind of wealth management also but in a different asset class real estate एंड प्रशांत और हम एक्चुअली मुझे याद है 2009 में हमने सबसे पहली बार सोचा था साथ में कुछ करते हैं ई वेस्ट और रिसाइकिल वेस्ट इसके सब के बारे में भी हमने उस टाइम पे सोचा था कुछ करते हैं तो इंसिडेंटली हुआ कि कुछ एक प्रोजेक्ट था जिसमें प्रशांत आल्सो इन्वेस्टेड एंड देन ही स्टार्टेड सेइंग कि व्हाट इज हैपनिंग अराउंड द वर्ल्ड वी सॉ कि दिस कैन बिकम बिग सो दैट्स हाउ ही सॉर्ट ऑफ इनिशिएटेड कॉन्वर्सेशन मुझे याद है दिल्ली में हम मिले थे एक रेस्टोरेंट में his wife was also there and then we had discussed a little bit more and but जो हमने सोचा था हम करेंगे वो रियल एस्टेट में था पर जब फाइनली प्रशांत मूव हो रहा था बैग्स लेके अपने लंदन से तब तक हमने वो एसेट क्लास चेंज करके
फाइनेंस में गया एसेट क्लास
या सो वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट बट थ्रू फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स
ओके तो सर I want to ask you one thing. Like you guys are looking for different roles in your company. So अगर आपका जैसे मान लो आपको लगता है कि ये सही है, प्रशांत को डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन होता है, तो आप कैसे उसको डिसाइड करते हो?
तो उससे पहले आई थिंक सबसे बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है व्हेन यू आर स्टार्टिंग ऑन योर एंटरप्रेन्योर जर्नी who your co-founder is matters a lot. Okay, apart from what your idea is, वो idea will change, execution may differ, market will teach you 10,000 things. But who your co-founder is very important, and that's why on to your question that there are other options etc. That options goes away when you know that who your co-founder and what qualities you are looking for, right? And they should be complementary as well. So for us, like realistically, what we do is we have certain things that he looks at, certain things I look at, and if something that he wants to take a decision on, and I will say I don't agree with it. But ultimately, it's his area of or domain that is working on. So he'll goes ahead and does that, right? And then even if it doesn't work out the way it was thought, then you as a co-founder has to back it up. You can't just say, "अच्छा मैंने तो बोला था कि ये ठीक नहीं हुआ." That doesn't work.
उस चीजों को साइड में रख के
हाँ, but once the decision is taken, you have to support it, and then likewise you expect the reciprocation as well, right? So because some decisions will go wrong, some decisions will go right.
Correct. So basically, the lesson is choose your co-founder very wisely. Correct.
I think, yeah, more than the business idea, that is,
थोड़ी बैठती हो, आपके आइडियाज थोड़े मैच
I think the same level of maturity is what you're looking at.
एंड मतलब ट्रस्ट कि आप जिसे ट्रस्ट कर पाओ ना कि आपको 100% ट्रस्ट है कि देयर इज नॉट इवन an iota of doubt. That is important.
So Aditya, I was going through your profile. So you are a very good investor also. You invested in few very good startups. So आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट मन का क्या होता है? What do you look like when, because startup funding is almost very risky, very risky. So आप क्या देखते हो किसी स्टार्टअप को फंड करने के पहले या इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के पहले?
See, I think जो मोस्टली जिस स्टेज पे हम इन्वेस्ट करते हैं या एज अ सो उसमें आई थिंक दो ही तीन चीज होती है. पहली बात तो आई थिंक फॉर मी इट्स लाइक यार इज दिस समथिंग दैट आई वुड वांट टू डू, right? So does it excite me, right? And is this something that I see a big market? I think that is number one. Secondly, obviously, who is doing it? Because Prashant said कि आप जहाँ से शुरू करते हो और जहाँ पे आपको product market fit मिलता है वो usually different होता है.
Correct.
Right? So that person has to be resilient. That person has to believe in what he is doing because ideas keep shape change होती रहती है, right? That is number two. And I think number three, obviously, stage also matters because आप suppose incorporation stage पे आप आते हो तो then that is when you probably can, if not anything else, जब फोन कॉल आता है सामने से आपके फ्रेंड का या जिस आप इन्वेस्टर जहाँ पे अपने इन्वेस्ट किया वहाँ पे एटलीस्ट आप कुछ इनपुट दे पाते हो, राइट? आफ्टर दैट you don't really are able to help.
So being an investor आप भी प्रेशर डालते हो, जैसे ऐसा बोला जाता है ना कि VCs तो यार बहुत प्रेशर भी डालते हैं, पैसा तो आता है बट प्रेशर भी बहुत आता है, तो आप कैसे इन्वेस्टर हो?
That's why it's called angel investing. Na?
So yeah, so again आपका जो प्रोडक्ट है, नाउ यू आर गोइंग ऑन अ वेरी वास्ट स्टेज, जैसा हमने भी डिस्कस भी किया था. सो आपके कॉम्पिटिटर्स कौन है इस मार्केट में? वेल्दी के कॉम्पिटिटर्स कौन है और मी एज अ कंज्यूमर मैं आपको क्यों चूज करूं एंड व्हाई आई डोंट गो फॉर द कॉम्पिटिटर्स? तो डिफरेंशिएटर क्या है?
So I think competition, as I said, like you shouldn't be like, you should look at them, but you shouldn't be bothering about them. But what you should look at is financial. So take a step back, right? So I met somebody very senior at HDFC, right? So HDFC, this was the same gentleman who wrote their application for banking license way back, 20 years back, right? So he said one thing. He said people keep saying that financial services is a sunrise sector, right? He said the sun has not even risen, right? So the market is huge. First of all, let's acknowledge that the market is huge. Now, in that, there are different areas, right? One is, let's say, insurance. One is, let's say, broking. One is, let's say, payments, right? Banking. Now, within that, there are different. So now the largest broker is not a bank anymore, right? The largest online insurance companies are not a bank anymore, right? The largest, probably, the payments company is not a bank anymore, right? So, and even the largest wealth management firm is not a bank anymore, right? So, you know, if you just look at that, that's the opportunity that you're sitting with, right? Now, on that, what do I want to give to the customer, right? So we see the market as two people, right? One is a DIY customer or do it, yourself customer, or one is a DIFM customer, do it for me customer, right? So even even if you look at US, which is a probably 20-25 years ahead market of us, it's a 10% DIY market, right? 90% of the money is still controlled by the RIAs or IRAs as they are called, right? It's not only very different in India. Second point, what you need to see is what is a wealth manager's job or a wealth management firm's job, right? As individuals, managing our own money properly and wisely should be probably after family, probably the number 2 priority in our daily routine, right? But it falls down the to-do list, right? If you have a to-do list, वो 2 से 10 पे पहुंच जाता है, right? And I keep telling my team, one of the biggest value add that we do to the customer, and that is by meeting him, talking to him, right? Or reviews or whatever you want to do, call it, right? Is to take that, from that to-do list of number 10, every month, at least every quarter, you have to take it to number 1 or number 2 in the list and keep doing it, right? So that is very important, because once it, if that's not something top of the customer's mind, he has other things to do. He has a job to do. Has to take care of his family. His parents might be ill. His kids. He want to spend time with the kids, right? So priority order में वो गिर जाता है नीचे, and you have to make sure that you're putting it back on the priority order number 1 or 2, right?
Sir, COVID time में when market was actually down, it was down for a month or 2 months. After that, it start picking up. और उस समय पे बहुत सारे लोगों की जॉब भी गई थी. आई वॉज ऑल्सो द वन जिसने अपना फुल टाइम ट्रेडिंग करियर स्टार्ट किया था कोविड टाइम्स में. तो मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्तों ने स्टार्ट किया. उन्होंने 7500 पे जब निफ्टी 7500 था तब इन्वेस्ट किया. 2 साल बहुत अच्छे रिटर्न आए. नाउ दे आर सेइंग कि अब क्या करें, ऐसा क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, पैसे डबल हर साल क्यों नहीं हो रहे हैं. तो आपकी क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है हमारे व्यूअर्स के लिए कि आप क्या उनको बोलना चाहेंगे कि आप मार्केट में क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन लेके आओगे. एक हेल्दी रिटर्न क्या होता है, नॉट इन परसेंटेज वाइज ऑल्सो, आप परसेंटेज कमेंट नहीं कर सकते हो, बट लोगों की बहुत अलग ही एक्सपेक्टेंसी होती है. जब मैं लोगों से बात करता हूँ कि यार 1 लाख रुपए लगाएंगे तो 50,000 तो महीने आने चाहिए एटलीस्ट. तो आपके लिए हेल्दी रिटर्न क्या है, और जो नए इन्वेस्टर्स हैं जो 2020 में आपने देखा डीमैट अकाउंट में बहुत शूट अप हो गए, तो उनके लिए आपका क्या सलाह है.
सो पहला क्वेश्चन आपका जो है कि बहुत सारे जो नए इन्वेस्टर्स आए, या ट्रेडर्स, आई वुड रादर से मोर देन इन्वेस्टर्स, तो ये कोई नया फिनोमिना नहीं है. इफ यू लुक एट द नंबर्स इन 2006 and 7, राइट, व्हेन द मार्केट वाज यूनिडायरेक्शनल, राइट, एक ही डायरेक्शन, तब भी डीमैट अकाउंट्स बढ़े थे, राइट. और अब अभी आपको जे कर्व दिख रहा है डीमैट अकाउंट्स में, उस टाइम पे भी सेम ही कर्व था. आप नंबर्स देखो. If you go back, the numbers, the velocity, numbers might be smaller, but the velocity of the numbers is the same, right? So it's nothing new, okay? Because we have been through some few cycles, it's nothing new. What has happened in this COVID period, or whatever, the down market which happened in 2020, because opening an account was so easy, and because of online payments and everything, it was just very, very fast, right? Tech played an important role. The access to opening an account and getting started completely, not signing papers and everything, that helped, right? But with respect to expectation, if you are an investor in the equity side, you should look at your your expectation from equity should be inflation plus 4%, kind of. Right, so if the inflation is like 7%, then 11-12% should be your expectation. If your inflation is 5%, then your expectation would be 9-10%. These are on the longer period of time, over the year, right? But if you're a trader, your risk reward is completely different, right? This is, I'm saying, with a moderate risk, with kind of having 80% equity in your portfolio, and 20% debt, or fixed income. But if you're a trader who is taking leverage, then your expectation should be higher. Right.
Warren Buffett also say the same thing. Like most of the fund manager cannot even beat ETF return, like index fund returns.
Correct.
So what you said is very correct. Inflation is around 7%. If we add 4% to it, it becomes a Nifty benchmark returns since inception, almost 12%. So,
no, and there is a logic to the 4%. The 4% is if you have a larger portfolio. Let's say you have a 100 crore portfolio, just to take an example, right? So that set of customer, what happens is, let's say he's accumulated all his wealth, he's just doing nothing but investing, right? His expense will be, let's say, 2-3 crores a year, for example, to take care of his lifestyle, apart from other stuff that he's doing, right? So he wants that to be replenished. That 2 crores should be replenished. 7% is the inflation, let's say. So 7 plus 2. Plus 2 is the alpha that he should expect on his portfolio, right? So that is that 7 plus 2 plus 2, essentially.
okay, so that 2% should be correct.
Yeah. So that is how people, and for achieving that 10, 11, 12%, you don't need to be 100% equity as well. The larger the portfolio, the more fixed income component starts coming in.
Yeah, that was the thing I was coming to. Portfolio ka how much percent should be invested in equity, in gold or real estate or any asset class you want to share for a person of let's say 35-year age, because it depends on age also. If you are old,
It depends on the age and the amount that you have. At 35, if you have 100 CR, then it's a different question. But if you have 1 crore or 5 lakhs, that's a different question, right? So if you are in the accumulation phase of 5 lakhs and you're earning and adding to that, then the best way to do that in this day and age is doing SIPs, essentially, right? So if you're in the accumulation phase, you have 1 lakh of savings every month or 50,000. That's just simple. Just don't put too much mind. Just do SIPs, right? But if you have a certain bigger corpus, then you have to start looking at what do you do with that money. Then you have like a 10, let's say 1 CR portfolio. Then you need to see what's the asset allocation. But there are two things. One is a stock of money. One is the flow of money. Okay, we generally don't differentiate between the two. The stock is this I have available right now, right, in my bank account or in my FDs or whatever, right? That's one part. And the other is the flow of money that is coming every month minus your expenses. That's the flow of savings that you're getting, right? For the flow of savings, you probably need to plan for SIPs, right? That's the stock of money. You need to think better in terms of asset allocation, because that's a bigger pool of money and that goes in one time, right? So you kind of say, okay, I want to have, let's say, a 10% return. Let's say equity is giving me 12%. Let's say debt is giving me 8%. What percentage of debt equity do I need to have to achieve that 10% of that? And that's what the wealth manager kind of works with your relation. And then also some people are very risk averse, right? And I mean, that's their personal choice. And there some people, and age and risk, my father probably has much more risk appetite than me. And and I've also seen that in the
from your father, because your father is quite risk-taking.
no, so if you look in last year, October 21, if I do your risk profiling in October 21, it'll come out to be super aggressive. Probably now it'll be aggressive. And market goes down, it'll become conservative. Right? The same person's risk profile doesn't remain the same, right? So I think it's a more engaging conversation with the customer with respect to the market, with respect to the age. It's not a formula that I got this risk profile done. This guy is a moderate and he'll remain moderate. No, he changes. He changes according to market. He changes according to circumstances that he has, and that's what a constant engagement with the customer is important.
So, sir, talking about wealth managers, so nowadays people want good wealth management services. So, but what I personally found is there are so many people scamming someone, giving them wrong expectation, all these things. So, for our audience, what you want to say that what things we should look before choosing a particular wealth manager? What things, what skills, what quality we should look into a wealth manager?
I think first, anybody who says guaranteed, you just run away from that. Like because in this country, only guaranteed can be said by insurance companies and probably by the government, right? Nobody else can say guaranteed, right?
There also claim ratio is 96-97.
No, that's in the term insurance. But if you go into savings product of insurance, then they can say that it's guaranteed and they have to honor it by law, right? But apart from that, anybody saying guaranteed, just put the phone down, right? That's one. That's one check. Second, I would say if that person, you can kind of understand that he's going to be engaging with you. He's not going to be one time. You give him a smaller check in the beginning or a smaller amount to manage, and then you see how he engages, and then you take it up. That is what I would say, that you build that relationship over a period of time. Don't, like, let's say if you have 1 CR, just don't give 1 CR to a new person. You give 5-10 lakhs, see how he engages with you, and gradually increase, so that you kind of go into that relationship slowly and gradually, and you have a way to mitigate that if it doesn't work out.